And our top story this hour, 4 days since the deadly mass shooting at Brown University. Authorities there still searching for a suspect. Providence, Rhode Island police releasing this enhanced video of the suspect moving around Brown's campus before and after the shooting. They are now asking for the public's help with the manhunt. This is the Faulkner Focus. Hello, everyone. I'm Julie Banderas in for Harris today. We're going to take a closer look at that newly released footage. A little more than an hour before the shooting, the suspect was walking through the streets about a block away from campus. And shortly after the shooting, the suspect moved through a school parking lot past the police. He then walked onto a nearby street where he was able to slip away somehow. There are many gaps in his movements, prompting big questions over the lack of security of cameras on campus and the location of the city. State and city officials, meanwhile, on that.
That older part of the building, there are fewer, if any, cameras in that location. I imagine because it's an older building.
There's an old building, and the camera system that they have in that building is not upgraded as like some other areas. So I think what would have been helpful more is if obviously there was a newer system in place that would have helped us a lot more.
Take a look at this map. It shows all the surveillance cameras on campus. That big blind spot you see there, circled in red, represents the area of the shooting scene. Former FBI Special Agent Nicole Parker and retired NYPD Inspector Paul Mauro are coming up. But first, national correspondent Brian Guinness is in Providence with the very latest on the investigation and manhunt there. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Julie. Well, just moments ago, we saw FBI agents on the east side of the entrance of the building searching for evidence here. They were looking in the bushes. They were taking photos. Now, if you pan over here, you can see this is the entrance to the Barris and Holly building. Those doors were unlocked because it was final exam period. Now, we found out yesterday the Providence police say that at 10:30 a.m., that was the first sighting they found on camera of this person of interest, 5.5 hours before the shooting. Let's take a look at that enhanced video once again. It shows a 5'8" man, stocky build. He's walking around the residential neighborhood right next to the Barris and Holly building. They're hoping someone will recognize how he walks and moves. The Attorney General says the videos released so far are the best they have of the person of interest. Now, at some point you see that he's wearing a satchel, and at other times he's not. They have no information about how old he is, and nothing to suggest that he's a Brown University student or a staff member. The Attorney General for the Rhode Island says they are looking into whether the gunman yelled something during the shooting.
There is no information that the investigative team has about motive. Zero. There's nothing about. Even if taking at face value what one or two witnesses may have said about what something was said, okay, and there are many witnesses that say nothing was said.
The FBI released a new video timeline, including this video taken from a vehicle showing the person of interest walking past the engineering and physics building at 2:53, about an hour before the shooting. There are 1,200 cameras on Brown University's campus, but this map shows you that there is a clear blind spot, virtually no cameras outside of the engineering and physics building, except for this camera. And this is at the emergency blue light stand for students. There's a camera at top. That camera was managed to capture the person of interest escaping from the physics and engineering building, or at least running away from it, crossing Hope Street onto Waterman. You can see the police lights are turned on at the time that he crosses. So now we've got a big question here about what happens next, because at 4:06 he goes down that street, and that's the last time we see him. And now we're seeing makeshift memorials here all over campus. You have people leaving flowers and letters, a sign here, Julie, that says, "When is enough enough?" As this community is reeling and they are searching for answers, Julie.
Brian Guinness, live in Providence, Rhode Island. Thank you so much. Paul Mauro, retired NYPD inspector, attorney, and Fox News contributor, is on the ground in Providence and joins us. Also, Nicole Parker, former FBI special agent, also a Fox News contributor. Her new book titled The Two FBIs is available now, by the way. Paul, I'll start with you. You and I were together when this story broke, and you, in fact, had the very first digital image of surveillance video that you showed me off the air that we weren't even allowed to show at the time of the suspect. And I cannot believe days later, we don't know much more.
Yeah, I think that's really an important point, Julie, because you have to say to yourself, where was the security? I know we're all analyzing the investigation and we're focusing on that, and right now that is the most important thing. You want to get this person and make sure that the threat is mitigated. But we do have to, since you're talking about the initial aftermath, we do have to recognize that this building, which is apparently one of the most heavily traveled buildings in the university, didn't have ingress and egress video, did not have key card access that day, did not have a security guard. There were other things going on in the building. And as I said, it's right here on the edge of a residential neighborhood. It's kind of the first thing you hit as you enter the Brown area. And so you have to say to yourself, how is that security so lax? And is that one of the things that played into this building being a target?
As we reported, the FBI pieced together surveillance video, Nicole, to create a timeline of the suspect's movements before and after the shooting. And you isolated some significant points for us. This one shows him apparently casing the area. What does this video say to you, and how shocked are you, first of all, that this video has produced nothing? I mean, nobody's come in as of this video being released for questioning.
I'm actually not shocked at all, because I know that Brown University is now trying to defend their posture on their security statements that they have made, but it's been an epic fail. The fact that there is no security footage from the campus, and that the justification was it was an older building. Both the Attorney General and the police chief of Providence Police Department have said we have no video surveillance. That is inexcusable. I believe that Brown University's prioritization was not on the safety and security of their students. They were more focused on things like DEI efforts, and that has been catastrophic and led to the death of 2 students. I think what's important about this video surveillance that you're seeing here from a Ring doorbell camera, likely from a neighborhood individual who has been kind enough to cooperate with law enforcement and give all of this information, is that if you see, he has a very unique gait. Okay, it almost appears to me like he's waddling around. Additionally, you can see his body composition. That is going to be very difficult to hide. He can try to escape, but the way that he appears physically is very notable, and someone within the sound of the voice of those in the media, they know who this person is, and this case will be solved by someone seeing these video surveillance footages and turning it in. But I have to give credit to the FBI.
Yeah.
They are not the lead investigative agency on this. This is Obama signed the Investigative Assistance for Violent Crime Act in 2013, which allows the FBI and DOJ to assist in the aftermath of an active shooter. But this is not their jurisdiction to take primary and to take over this case. But they are doing a tremendous amount of heavy lifting. I would say that they're doing the majority of the heavy lifting. Putting together all of this video footage has been phenomenal. They're doing the best that they can with what they have to work with.
I want to talk more about the timeline with you, Paul, and show you the video of the suspect, who does tend to jog a bit. If you take a look here. All right. Now, let's talk about the timeline real quick, okay? The 911 call went in at 4:05. That was at about 4:06. So literally a minute after the 911 call went in, which happened within seconds, if not minutes, of the shooting actually occurring, you see someone jogging down the street.
Yeah, and that's certainly going to be one of the pieces that they're leaning on to say that this is the person of interest. They've also done a lot of interviews, and I think that they're fairly certain that the person that we're seeing as the person of interest in all of these videos is the perpetrator. And remember something else. If you are not the perpetrator and that's you in those videos, well, you would come forward and you'd say, hey, I'm not the shooter, that's me that you're showing everywhere. But I do want to focus on the fact that the videos that we're seeing, the reason that they are from residential videos, is residential residency, excuse me, is that, and not the campus, is because he fled into a residential area. This piece of Brown is right on the edge of a very wealthy neighborhood. And here's the rub, Julie. A lot of these houses, they're surrounded by gates and walls. They're very well set back from the street. A lot of them, I don't think, are going to have usable Ring videos. Furthermore, during the weekend, in the immediate aftermath of the shooting, a lot of the houses were not even occupied. My understanding from sourcing here is that the police were having a hard time getting usable video because there was nobody home. Now that people began to come back, or they reached out to people who were maybe away in Florida for the season or something, they've been able to get more. I'm hopeful that as time goes on, we may get video that shows either his face or maybe even shows him doing something with that backpack that appears in some of the videos and is not in others. Did he put it in a car? Well, if you get a car, you could get a plate, something like that. Those are the kinds of things I think that they're hoping for now. But one of the things that's going to almost certainly occur here as we get further out from the event is you're going to get digital stuff.
I would be remiss.
We're going to start to do that.
I would be remiss not to point out once again the fact that there is a dead zone on campus where there are no cameras, and the Brown University has come out and said that they have some 1,500 cameras on campus, and that they sent out a text message to 20,000 students. Many of those students, including the student body president, didn't know about the shooting until their own mother actually called them to say that there was a shelter in place. And there is possibly no coincidence that the shooter picked a building knowing there were no security cameras. Am I onto something?
Yeah, I mean, it feels that way
to me. Absolutely onto something.
Paul, okay, both of you real quick, and then I have to go. I'm sorry, Paul?
Yeah, I think that almost certainly he's walking around beforehand. He looks like he's looking around for cameras, and as I said, he fled into a residential area. Does look like he did some casing here, but he did have to know that the building was occupied on a Saturday. It does argue some prep.
Nicole.
And again, I go back to the face mask theory that I've had since working violent crime in the FBI. Those face masks that became highly regulated during COVID are a law enforcement officer's nightmare because we do not have any clear view of his face. It's only a small smidgen of his eyes. But again, we are supportive of law enforcement. They are doing the best that we can. And again, it is going to be up to the public. If you see something and you recognize this person, please call it in. There's a $50,000 cash reward by the FBI right now. Let's solve this.
All right, and they will. Nicole Parker and Paul Mauro, thank you both for talking to us. We'll come back to you if news warrants. Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.